team. And this is interesting. FlyQuest have selected second pick while Shopify have selected red side.
Oh.
That's the first time we've seen this happen in the LCS. Usually it's first pick, other team selects blue side.
Yep.
Okay, well, let's see how it shakes out then. As Rumble, Ambessa, and Cassiopeia banned out by Shopify Rebellion, FlyQuest removing the Poppy and the Jace with 1 ban left to go.
Yeah, so Ambessa jungle is something that Gryffinn does actually play, so maybe he got 1 ban, you know, could be a ban against him. Of course, Quad always known for the Cassio, and Cassio is actually quite strong now in this season, so I do think that's going to be a mainstay on the bans against FlyQuest.
You mentioned the Ambessa jungle. Jace jungle was also super popular on ladder here for the first week of the new season. Pretty much every jungler playing those. Jarvan, a more traditional pick that has been very, very popular in the jungle as well. As Varus is locked in for Shopify, it is a flex between AD carry and top lane, and Wukong will be the first pick here for Fly.
Yeah, and it's no surprise to see the Varus locked in immediately. Been a really high priority pick, really dramatic win rate outside of, I believe, the LCK right now in terms of just winning globally across the world. We have the Malphite locked in.
Malphite jungle or Malphite top? I'm assuming it's jungle.
I think it's going to be Malphite jungle. Contractz was one of
Sylas
these junglers.
is up.
Yeah.
Sylas is up. I feel like I don't even care if you don't know how to play Sylas. You just press Sylas.
Slam it. Also, I feel like Gryffinn is the type of jungler to have practiced jungle Sylas.
Well, and then you'd have to put Wukong top or something, though, right? So we would have to see some more like atypical lanes. So I guess they're saying like you won't just slam Sylas because you don't want to like blind Sylas top, and we're not willing to play, you know, Wukong top and Sylas jungle. But I am a little bit surprised because that is always seen as like if you're gonna play Malphite, you have to pay the tax of the Sylas. Statistically, I remember I was talking to Freak, and that's supposed to be like the sharpest counter, so to speak, in the entire game of any combination of champions. So they are not going to go for it, though. Instead, it is going to be the Jhin, who is the other side of that, who's generally going to be countered by the Malphite. So we'll see how that works out for Massu.
Yep, and the Azir, kind of standard, fits into any composition, super high prio mid. Also something that Zinie has had insane highlights on during his KT Challengers career. I personally, as someone who watched him in Challengers, I'm super excited for his debut here in the LCS, and he is incredibly comfortable on this pick, like most LCK mid laners. I
mean, he is just such a talented player. This is a guy who I think we would have seen in the LCK probably a while ago if he wasn't behind BDD, one of the very best, most experienced mid laners in the entire world. But this is a guy who had LCK offers, and I know, you know, talking to Demonte, he was saying he was surprised that he wasn't just going to join an LCK team because he got multiple LCK offers. And decided to come, you know, join Shopify. Was really excited for the prospect of playing with this team. And he is really, I think, a player with incredibly high expectations. You know, this is someone who was looked at as a potential top LCK mid laner prospect-wise. So for him to be coming here, starting his career in Tier 1 in the LCS, I think is really, really exciting. This guy could be something special.
All right, we've got the second half of the bans completed now with Nautilus and Sion banned by FlyQuest. Shopify Rebellion removing Rakan and Gwen from the pool of available choices as FlyQuest's fourth pick now. They're thinking about a couple of different things, but it will be Karma to pair with the Jhin.
Yeah, we have a nice Enchanter support to be supporting that Jhin. We'll see what Shopify want to respond to here.
I feel like we need some sort of hard engage, though, from FlyQuest side. Like, yes, you have the Wukong who can go in, but it doesn't feel like it is, you know, the first thing you want. Generally, Wukong functions better as follow-up, and if you're going to go in Enchanter support, you know, that is something that you are paying. Of course, we are expecting to be Malphite jungle. It's going to be Malphite jungle because we have that Renekton coming through, and Seo's just going to slam down the Bard.
Okay.
So, Bard, Malphite, those are kind of like the primary engages. Obviously, you have the Varus as a follow-up. You have potential Azir shuffles, lots of ways to engage. It is going to be Ksante for Gakgos. So the go button really just is kind of the Wukong Orianna combo, and that is just about it. Whereas on the other side, there's so many ways to start up the fights, and there's really vulnerable carries in both the Jhin and the Orianna. So I kind of like what Shopify has drafted out here in this first game.
Yeah, when I'm looking at how these compositions each kind of play out, the space and setup that's required of FlyQuest, in my opinion, is a little bit more difficult. They obviously do have champions with pick potential, like the Ksante, like the Wukong kind of jumping on top of you. But I really love what Shopify have brought to the table here. I'm especially excited to see Contractz on this jungle Malphite.
Yeah, jungle Malphite's exciting. Having Zinie on like the staple mid laner for, as you mentioned earlier, Emily, pretty much any type of comp or situation in League of Legends is a great way to get a gauge on, you know, how he's going to look here for his debut. Pretty much every aspect of the mid laner skill set can be applicable to Azir.
Absolutely. And Contractz is a guy who's been around for a long time competitive, you know, 2017 coming in, Cloud9. This is his first ever Malphite jungle game of his career. And he is going to be playing PTA Malphite, so going to be exciting to see how he performs on it. Contractz always one of the players that is very quick to pick up new picks in the meta, which is something I've always enjoyed about him. Regardless of the style, if it's a tank, if it's a carry, if he thinks it's OP, he's going to play it, and he's going to play it well.
Yeah, as soon as I heard about some of these new jungle picks coming through and saw them in the LCK and LPL, I was like, Contractz is going to be all over this. He is exactly the type of jungler who wants to play out something like this.
It's interesting, too, because mostly we have been seeing Electrocute for the Malphite jungle, but he is going to go PTA. I am expecting it to just be, you know, like Zeke's tank, you know, that kind of more standard style. I'm not going to see, like, full AP or anything crazy. But the clear for Malphite is actually quite good now. You really can power through the jungle pretty quickly. Of course, your ganks are not really anything until you're 6. This is like kind of the Nocturne territory.
You can throw a shard at them.
Maybe even worse than Nocturne.
You can just kind of wait and waddle into lane, you know?
You can waddle aggressively, yes.
I do want to bring up Zinie again, as you see on the side of your screen. He is one of the most hyped mid lane prospects coming out of the LCK. Everyone was kind of wondering where he would end up after KT Challengers, and I did really quickly pull what I think is one of his most famous play on this Azir that he's playing currently, but this was a huge turnaround fight against W1D2 Challengers, I believe they were called at that point, in 2024. And it's one of his most famous kind of Azir shuffle plays that completely turned the game around. I think he actually got the MVP for
Finals
this
MVP.
game as well.
Yep. I mean, this guy has been around for a while in Challengers and really looking incredibly strong. As Bvoy going to take a 4th shot to the face and is getting pretty low here. We've seen a lot of pretty dominant 2v2s. I will say it feels like more skewed than normal because last year, if you had a really bad 2v2 matchup in bot lane, you just swapped.
Out of it.
Now you can't do that with RoleQuest. You are very much locked in your position.
Justice.
Unless you are willing to get crazy and swap in champ select. Like, you can actually swap your role. People have been seeing experiment with that more, so I think that might end up coming to competitive later, where it's like, your Varus can just play as the top laner and you can swap things around, but that is a big commitment and you can't swap back and forth.
We did see a little bit of that too last year as well, especially with the Corki being sent top occasionally to farm up there. But yeah, this Jhin Karma bot lane really taking control of the wave in this 2v2, forcing out the back from Bvoy.
As TP at least, so we'll be able to come back, but is at least going to lose a couple of those minions. And not the best buy. It's just a tier with no pots or anything, so not ideal start here for Bvoy and Seos.
But this is kind of what I want to see from a team that drafts Karma support is lane dominance. If you're going to take this pick, I need to see the bottom lane in this type of shape, so that's going well for FlyQuest.
Yeah, and I think something that's kind of really going to be interesting to see is how Massu and Quad kind of evolve into their new roles on the team, right? Because they were kind of known as more quiet players on this FlyQuest team last year. You had a team, you know, with Inspired, with Whippo, with really opinionated players who were loud, who were going to be shot calling, who were going to be talking a lot about it. And, you know, you'll talk to people, and they basically said that Massu and Busio didn't even talk when they played in-game because they were so on the same page that they could really just play with pinks. When you're playing with someone who is brand new to the Tier 1 scene, like Cryogen. Cryogen just turned 18 recently. You have got to talk. You have got to tell him what you want from him, what you need from him. And it's going to be more of that leadership role now for Massu and Quad.
That is kind of crazy that he is half my age. That's
Oh, no.
That is wild. But yeah, you got somebody new to the league. He's got to find his own identity in the way that he works with the team, the way that he can be his best support. And right now, in that bottom lane, there is the about, you know, wave and change advantage for Massu over Bvoy in terms of the farm. Little tiny advantage there for Quad in mid lane as well. As you can see, supports making their way over. Zinie not going to be hit by that empowered inner flame as Cryogen just wards Seos away now.
I mean, it's just such a different year and such different expectations for FlyQuest now. Coming into this year, last year, at the end of the Worlds, they were the longest standing Tier 1 roster in the world. 513 days together. The expectations was, you know, you're going to dominate LCS. You're going to try to challenge the top teams internationally. That's what people were expecting from FlyQuest. Now it's like a total rebuild, right? You lost 3 of your players. You lost arguably the 2 best players in the West, period, with Inspired and Busio. And now you have 3 super young players. You have new coaches coming in. You have a complete overhaul, and everything is kind of now a restart. You know, they firmly believe that they have the future of League of Legends here in North America on this team. They think they have some really talented young players, but you have got to develop those players and see how quickly they can do that.
Exactly. It's a long-term investment versus looking to just immediately be right back in contention for, oh, we're going to guarantee that we're top 2. We're just going to get the most expensive guys, the most experienced guys we can.
And I think that's kind of what's exciting to me about this roster is that, yes, it is a long-term thing, but you can see the potential with these players. So if there is that high roll and everyone kind of just works from the word go, they could be really good really fast.
Yep.
Yeah, they're a really exciting young team. By contrast, I think it's really interesting to look at Shopify, right, who kept almost their entire roster. I was wondering if Fudge was going to go for it. He did not. But they kept their entire roster, right, except for mid lane. They did that mid lane swap, as we see.
Yep, flash coming out immediately. The follow unstoppable force from Contractz, and it appears Gryffinn is caught in a place he cannot escape. It's first blood over to Shopify.
Contractz just had the earlier level 6 there. Gryffinn was not quite 6, and Contractz just flashes in on him to slow him. Gryffinn flashes out, but you still have the ult to follow after that. So well played there by Contractz. Gets that early kill, and it goes to Zinie.
Yeah, that's huge for Shopify, and also just, like you said, getting that level 6, really well done when you're looking at this Malphite kind of coming online exactly at level 6, immediately gets the return on that ult and level investment, and should give them a little bit more control down on this bot side as we might be preparing for Drake Cake.
One thing that I always look at whenever it's Azir versus one of these immobile standard type of mages like an Orianna or a Syndra is as soon as he hits level 6, I kind of just like seeing Azir go for the shuffle, blow the flash, especially if you have something like Malphite who's already used his ult. Blow the Orianna flash now. As soon as Malphite has his ult ready again, wham, bam, it's a kill. I'll see if that's what Shopify want to go for here, as Zinie does still have that ultimate available, has his own flash. Quad still with the flash, as well as Contractz is back out on the map. Nice little deadly flourish there from Massu. Seos wants to get over to the magical journey, and indeed he and Bvoy can both take that one to get to safety. Only the 1 kill after 7 minutes. Really the goal difference is just the kill plus the assist money, so not a super active early game from either side just yet.
Yeah, and it makes sense given both of these compositions, especially given where their junglers want to be, right? Hitting level 6 and then kind of taking control of some of these early skirmishes. I do have to point out, Flowers, you know, lane swaps did have a little bit more action than the extended laning phase we're seeing now.
You know, my evenings are also much more eventful if I eat poisoned, rotten food, but I don't particularly think that makes them better.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you get in a car crash on the way home, it's pretty action-packed.
Yeah, but it's not exactly the best way to spend
It's not my preferred method of driving.
I'm sorry, Emily,
for yourself, no.
I'm never crossing the line to your side on this issue. But Shopify Rebellion, happy with their nice little early lead here. Teleports, you can see, are ready to go for everybody on the map except for the top laners. Quad has his. You've got them ready and available, not just for Zinie and Bvoy, but also for Seos, who does have the Summoner Spellbook on the Bard. So I want to see if Shopify can really catch FlyQuest off guard with all these TPs. Gryffinn goes in for the Cyclone. Contractz tanks the front of it. There's your curtain call. 3 shots of Contractz. Zinie goes in for the shuffle, but he only finds the target there on a Gryffinn as the Wukong is about to die again. Bvoy takes the kill. Zinie staying alive. Quad at least finds it, but no, the kill credit goes over to Cryogen. It's a 2-for-1 favoring Shopify Rebellion.
Yeah, it's good for Shopify at the end of the day here. Zinie tried to go for the big play with that flash shuffle, but couldn't catch him.
Yeah, Bvoy in danger now, down to 300 HP. You're going to see Seos down to 200 as well, but FlyQuest don't have the firepower to finish off those kills.
Yeah, but they will be able to get mid-prio off of this, which actually does work out well for them as we see Gakgos and Fudge continuing to go at it. And now Contractz is... We don't have a Drake take yet, but he is going up and going to get at least one of these grubs.
Yep, is able to grab 1 grub. Bvoy walking away with 2 kills. It is always terrifying to see an accelerated poke Varus. The amount of damage this guy starts to do is just ridiculous. So are going to have to be pretty careful about that now.
Okay, let's see here. We do have the one grub taken by Contractz for the Shopify side. Now Gryffinn is up there dealing with the remaining 2 grubs. Azael, you, Kobe, and I had a conversation about this yesterday, about how grubs, the efficacy of that objective feels significantly less in 2026 than it did in 2025. So not going to be as happy about being able to take the majority of the grubs as you would have been in the previous year there for FlyQuest, but hey, 2-1 is still a thing. We've still got that first Drake on the board. Ocean Drake as the first one oftentimes gets prioritized a little bit earlier, but this time around, 10 minutes on the clock, still nobody there.
Yeah, and as we see Shopify kind of trying to move in after that skirmish, reestablish vision on this bot side and take advantage of the push that Varus did establish down there. Also, as you already pointed out, Azael, those long-range arrows are starting to hurt.
Yep, it is going to be a little bit difficult, but Massu and Cryogen have done a great job in the 2v2. So even with those 2 kills going over and the plate going over to Bvoy, the gold is pretty much dead even. Massu has his Ghost Blade done. They did create a pretty massive CS advantage, you know.
Almost 4 waves.
Yeah, exactly. A good 20 CS down there in the bot lane is quite nice. Top lane, even though, you know, we've seen some pretty heavy trading, it's basically dead even, and now Shopify, they have first move here. This is going to be completely uncontested. You can see Massu and Cryogen are just walking out of base. Gryffinn is still just farming. He does not have that completed item because with the Zeke's Rush, it's a lot faster completion than something like the Triforce on the other side, and he's got CDR boots as well.
And it looks like Shopify wants to make a move after quad here. The exhaust is down into the Emperor's Divide, and when Contractz shows up, they've got more than enough damage. Contractz will take his first kill of the game as Shopify go up 4-1.
And I mean, it's fantastic for Contractz. Doesn't even have to spend the ulti, as Fudge gonna have to flash out of there.
Oh, okay. Zinie overstays his welcome, gets a little greedy there, and Gryffinn cashes in.
Triforce done.
Yeah. That's a really nice pickup for Gryffinn, kind of taking advantage of the fact that Zinie was overstaying. As we already pointed out, though, yeah, Contractz looking completely comfortable on this Malphite. It is the exact type of champion that we already covered, that he loves to play, and we see him already being just really, really confident going for so many of these engages with his team.
And this item is just so good for Malphite jungle now in this new season. The ulti haste is so nice. You have an AoE burn and slow after you cast your ulti. So, you know, with this relatively cheap build here early on, it's just ready to go, and we'll see how Zinie died. Looks like he's just going to get caught by a flash ER, and that is just about that.
Yep, you're dead before the last tick of damage comes out from the Cyclone, so not really that great. Meanwhile, all out here on the top side, Fudge in some danger, and Gryffinn is going to pick up his second kill of the game. FlyQuest striking back. It was a rough start for Gryffinn, but he has made up for it a little bit now as Bvoy fires off another piercing arrow. Meanwhile, back in mid lane, it's Contractz. The torpedo finds the robot, and kaboom, another kill towards that jungle Malphite.
This is exactly what I want to see from both of these junglers, right? Really getting involved with their lanes as we see Gryffinn kind of showing up to try to stop this mid lane push.
This is getting spicy.
Yeah, curtain call is opened up. Third shot misses, fourth shot also just a little bit off the mark there. So Bvoy avoiding some serious damage as Seos continues retreating back out of the Pixel Brush. Cryogen does throw the ward down, activates the Phaelite.
Yeah, and Zinie is going to start becoming a huge problem on this Azir. We can see why they've poured so many resources. Contractz has kind of always been there, or Seos has been rotating up on the Bard. And he is in a really, really good spot heading into the mid game.
I kind of want to see that mid lane kill again, just to see, you know, was it a flash over the wall? Like, did he have no vision? Because I believe Quad had flash, so there was always that possibility of being able to react. But of course, if they come, you know, with a flash all out of fog, it is pretty tough to react to that. But that is something that is just so important against playing against Malphite, right? If you can flash that ulti, he doesn't necessarily have a way out, you know. And yes, this is a really powerful build, but it's not like you're some full pure tank where you're just invincible if you do avoid that engage.
So one thing that I'm noticing that's really demonstrating just the focus that Shopify have had on the mid lane, Contractz with multiple visits there. The one man on the map right now whose quest is not completed is Quad on the Orianna, and they're looking to keep him away from it for a little bit longer now too. Shopify setting up for what could be a dive, but FlyQuest knows Quad is the one with a target on his back so far in this first 14 minutes.
There he goes.
The plates start falling. That's the checkpoint. This is a regular thing in the game now. I've got to keep checking in at this point on the clock. And so far, it's been a good 14 minutes for Shopify.
Yeah, and you see kind of how they're really trying to take control of this bot side of the map. Both teams sending their ADs mid, try to get mid prio, the most important thing ever in the history of League of Legends. As we see Shopify maybe setting up for a dive
Ult's up again.
Okay, Cryo and Quad gonna look to see if they can try to stop this, but as soon as Contractz gets the chance, he's immediately full sending it here with the ultimate, gets shuffled back towards the team, and Zinie's taking his 3rd kill of the game. The Azir gets fed, Orianna's dead. Shopify know the playbook.
Yeah, that was a great redive and setup. They had the wave, more money in the pocket of Zinie, and we'll see if Gryffinn wants to try to respond with a potential dive onto Fudge up here.
Okay, immediately Gakgos goes in, goes all out over the wall, brings Fudge away from the safety of the turret. Dominus or not, that crocodile is done for. The burst from FlyQuest is clean to get a 4th kill.
I mean, they made that dive look so easy. Gakgos sets it up perfectly, just pulls him fully away from that tower. They knock him down. Gotta be a bit critical of Quad, though, on that bot side. That ult was a max-range Malphite ult, as Cryogen has a great sidestep on that Varus one. But Quad needed to flash that Malphite ult in bot lane. That was literally max range with flash up. You're a pro player on land. You have no ping. You gotta flash that.
Maybe he thought they wouldn't have been able to kill him, but obviously was proved wrong after as a TP arrives for Shopify Rebellion. The Herald's gonna lose some patience. Cryogen does get slowed down by the binding there, and Shopify are going to clear out the vision, maintain control of their Herald pit, and this objective is going their way, no contest.
Yeah, Shopify were just able to kind of muscle their way in as we see this that you called for.
Okay, so he had no vision. This was the earlier one, not the last kill. This was that previous one. So it's the observer showing us he was fully out of vision here, and it's basically just going to come as a total surprise. He's going to flash out ult. Pretty tough to react from when you don't have any idea that he is approaching. The bot lane one, I'm not going to give him the credit.
Yeah, that's a little bit.
The bottom one, he should have flashed for sure. I mean, he knew the Malphite was there, and it was a max range ult, so that's when you got to flash. If you don't, it's just so hard. He flashes then after being ulted and just gets swept in by the Azir, so then it's kind of insult to injury because you can't even avoid the next one. And with how much CDR the Malphite has, like, the ult is up a lot.
Yeah, it's like if you're not flashing the ulti, you shouldn't be flashing, right? Because at that point, the spell is just going to be wasted. But sometimes those are some of the small errors that can end up costing more as the game goes forward. Gryffinn stunned to the wall here as FlyQuest want to go after the Drake. Seo's caught out by the Deadly Flourish. He does open up a magical journey, takes that to safety over the wall. Contractz ready to contest here for the smite, gets knocked up by the first cast of the Cyclone, and that's enough to force Shopify back. Now Fudge is looking for his opportunity to get some kind of a punish. Tempered Fate finds Gryffinn. Piercing arrow charged up over the wall, not gonna find a target. Now Cryogen is that target as Contractz wants some more damage. Gets away with the magical journey. FlyQuest coming in here with the teleport. The shockwave not finding the mark means Shopify is still alive for now. Seo's down to half HP. Curtain Call not hitting the targets on this one as the Herald is summoned up down here in the bottom lane, maybe for combat purposes. Gakgos coming in, root onto Fudge yet again, and FlyQuest gets the kill underneath the tower. Now the Herald is going to be an Uber back home to safety, but it looks like they're going to drive it through the ditch instead. It's all right, they're not in trouble. The tier 1 turret should just fall down here though, and it's a very good sequence for FlyQuest.
Yeah, FlyQuest managed to get that tier 1. I do want to point out, though, while that was happening, Zinie could not join because of TP, right? So he was able to push this in, get this turret up here in top, and mid tier 1 also went down during that entire sequence because it just took so long. Initially, I thought Shopify were just going to go for a soft contest and completely back off once they pulled FlyQuest away from that Drake pit, but
gotta say, Protoplasm Harness also pretty strong on the Malphite here. That was the second item completion, so did purchase that up. These cheap kind of supportive style items for the Malphite is one of the reasons that it is so strong right now. You have 2 support items essentially here, really fast completion times. He was on 2 full items there where it's like just Triforce in pieces for the other jungler.
Jungle Malphite shops the same brands that Jungle Ivern does, right? they don't care about names, they don't care about brands or clout. Zinie does not care about anything right now because he is dead for the next 40 seconds. Nice plays coming out there from FlyQuest, but now the attempted punish for Shopify. Piercing arrow gets the first kill. Bvoy's on a killing spree. Gryffinn in a little bit of danger as the Chains of Corruption over the wall don't find the target, but Fudge is in hot pursuit. The Croc gets fed, and Quad is out of mana, out of options, out of time as he runs towards the enemy turrets. A flash seismic shard from Contractz to guarantee there's no execution. And Shopify get the better of the trade. They're up 2,000 gold.
Yeah, a FlyQuest thought they'd have an angle onto Zinie, get him out of the game, kill the raid boss Azir. Really, really nice collapse from Shopify coming in. And it's just going to give them so much more map control on this top side.
It's been a tough game for Quad, I'm not going to lie. 0-5 now at this point.
He has been targeted a lot.
Well, looks like the target is right now on the Malphite. Contractz.
That's a Jhin, brother. Don't get too excited.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not like this target is particularly threatening. Since he is 2-0-6, he's got his ult up in 3 seconds.
Look at how fast he's walking away.
He didn't even proc the safety belt.
He's chilling. He's fine. 2 minutes until our next dragon spawns, but with both teams only at a single Drake so far, I'm not feeling like the Drake win con is really the story of this game.
No.
We do still have that good gold lead for Shopify Rebellion. Over 2,500 now, as FlyQuest will be tasked with defending their own red side jungle. Shopify thinks they have enough of a lead to just force their way in here and try to steal away these minor objectives in the buffs.
Well, and they know that Gakgos can't join for a little bit because his TP is down, so we'll see how much pressure they actually want to give this turret.
He's going to lose his whole bot side jungle, and Gryffinn isn't even cross-mapping to try to steal away camps or anything. They were kind of soft contesting this, but they didn't end up being able to walk in, so they kind of just watched them take both the Krugs and the red buff and push bot all at the same time. And FlyQuest really starting to fall behind more and more. It's nearly 3K now.
Okay, knock up there on Seos. He tries to get away, but the curtain call has opened. First 2 shots, find the support. Third hit Zinie. Fourth one saved for Seos, and the shutdown over to Massu. Fourth shot gets it done. Now Contractz on the run. Deadly Flourish will not hit him for that extra CC. Shopify continues their retreat. Defensive Malphite ulti to make sure he doesn't die there.
Yep, it's going to proc the harness as well. The biggest problem there for Shopify, honestly, was that Zinie was completely right? So, if you have that threat of the turn with the Malphite ult, you could have actually maybe looked for something, but Zinie whiffed on the ult, then was completely out of mana when he E'd back over the wall. So they couldn't really turn and fight at that point, which meant Contractz just has to run for the hills. This TP not going to find much of anything as Seos just spellbook TP down towards that bottom side. Well, seeing if there was an angle there, but Quad, of course, had the empowered recall available with the tier 3 boots.
And I feel like if you're FlyQuest, you want a fight that Gakgos is involved in. If you think there's a fight you need to take at all, he is the 1 point of strength for them on the map right now, up 600 gold individually. Does have his first 2 major items completed with Iceborne and Thornmail, so it's a ton of armor. Obviously, the MR is a bit of a vulnerability right now. You can see the cloak in inventory working towards a big MR item to be able to deal with the Azir DPS.
Got some shoes.
Yeah, you see, all right, he's got some shoes, but it's not like they're not name brand, right?
No.
We're all shopping at the Malphite store today. As Shopify Rebellion are first to the bottom side river, looking at this 3rd Drake of the game. FlyQuest thinking about contesting for it, but remember, nobody's super stacked. FlyQuest still wants the challenge, and it's going to be stolen away by Gryffinn. The Wukong goes in to take the objective. Contractz bursted low, but he's not bursted down. Massu's in danger as Fudge slices and dices into the middle of the fight. Zinie wants to go in, and he finds the shuffle onto Cryogen. Everybody else barely manages to escape, but Quad gets the single auto attack to get Zinie back. He tries to flash to get away. A little bit more damage is not there from Shopify as Bvoy fires a rain of arrows over the wall, but it cannot hit Quad. Massu still on the run. It's 1 dead on the side of Shopify, 2 dead for Fly.
But they were able to steal away the dragon. That is so big. Gryffinn stealing the dragon makes that super worthwhile. A second dragon grab for them. Zinie goes in for the big play, but it was really fast flashes from FlyQuest to avoid that. Everyone was able to flash away except for Cryogen. And then as a result, Quad just turns and actually knocks down Zinie, able to get that kill, barely survives. As the Ksante comes in for the shield, he has that command protected as well. It's critical that he's able to live there. We didn't get a full view on this steal. Let's see,
no,
1800, just Q smite, nicely done.
Yeah, and he pays for it with his life here. But like he said, I actually think FlyQuest, this is completely worth for them, especially since Quad is able to get this kill onto Zinie on the back half of this fight.
They got those young hands, the quick flashes coming out on the FlyQuest side.
That's true. The average age of this team is what, like 20 years old and change?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's
They're
like
so
2005.
young.
Yeah, that's wild,
Yep.
man.
Yeah, I mean, they're a very young team. They were already a young team. They were, one of the youngest teams international when we would go. But they got even younger. This was last year.
Oh, but it looks like Quad might not be getting much older on the Rift. Contractz are going to take him out before old age can strike, as Gryffinn's in the middle of everybody with a 3-man
Zinie.
Contractz going to get hit there by the R2 as Zinie retreats. FlyQuest trying to find these kills, but they don't have the burst to get anybody here just yet. Gakgos into the back line. Zinie's going to be taken low, taken down. Gakgos gets the kill. Fudge is trying to create the same kind of space into the FlyQuest back lines. He stuns up Quad. Attack, but he can't find it. The shield is real, and Quad stays alive.
That is massive for FlyQuest. They win out this fight 3-0. We'll see if they can try to push for a Baron. They really want to go for it here.
Yeah, piercing arrow coming out from Bvoy. Contractz has to be the one keeping anybody from FlyQuest away from this Varus. FlyQuest now still all 5 players alive, going after the Baron. It's 15 seconds until Zinie is back alive. 5 seconds on Seos. Bvoy and Contractz stepping up. Cryogen going to be your target here at the start. Baron half HP. Now
3 seconds on Malphite ult.
Gakgos, he's low. Gryffinn low. In goes Contractz. Tries to take him out. Flashes into the back of the pit. Wants to be able to fight for the smite.
Oh,
It's Gryffinn to guarantee it for FlyQuest. But now the rest of the fight has to be fought. Zinie going in for Quad. Needs the damage. Finds it, but he dies himself. Seos and Bvoy are chasing him down. They want to get as many of these kills as they can. Gryffinn's still waiting in the tri-brush, seeing if there's an opportunity to try to turn. Cryogen with a Montre and her flame. Massu down to 100 HP. He stays alive. Bvoy gets 1 kill. He's on a rampage. He gets a second there on Massu. Seos knows Gryffinn and Gakgos are the only 2 left alive here with the Baron. He tries to go in. Fudge pops Dominus. He wants to try to slice him and dice him with a call to Meek. He goes back in. Gakgos is kiting him. Fudge is chasing. Gryffinn and Gakgos juggling this Renekton around. But Fudge finally gets the kill. Now what about the last one? If they can get the kill on Gryffinn here, it's massive, because that's the last Baron. But no, Gryffinn survived.
What a fight over by the Baron. That was insanity. Contractz, the split second his ulti came up, it was a couple seconds as he was going for that contest. The ulti comes up, he tries to kill off Gryffinn, but Gryffinn barely survives. We gotta go back. So this is right as he ultied back in, right on cooldown. Can't finish Gryffinn. He flashes into the back of the pit, looks to finish this off. I saw about 70 health on the Baron from the smite from Contractz. 78 when the smite comes in. He tried to time his smite with his W, but the W from the Malphite wasn't perfectly synced up. So it went off. The W was literally mid-clap when the smite came through from the Wukong, so not perfect timing there from Contractz, and Gryffinn back-to-back objectives are secured, and then this was just insane, Emily.
Yeah, and I mean, look at all of the healing coming out of the heals and shields. How many times I thought that Shopify would be able to take advantage of these blinking health bars. Basil dying a little bit there.
I like how the completely different reactions from the coaching staff of the same team. Apollo looks devastated. Thinkard just looks happy.
Yeah, Apollo looks like one of those anime ghosts has like left his body. The fight before that, I do want to point out.
Wait, hold on. We don't have time for that right now. Immediately Gryffinn's going in and Bvoy's going down. Perfect engage there from FlyQuest. And they're looking to make it a 2-for-1 deal. Gryffinn on a killing spree as Contractz Malphite falls. And now with the Dragon begun, because of the fact that Gryffinn stole the last one, this is FlyQuest moving to Soul Point.
Yeah, this is huge. This is Soul Point for FlyQuest. I love what we've been seeing from Gryffinn in this game, even when it was Contractz really trying. Fudge is in trouble.
Yeah, hold on. What's going on here with the crocodile?
He was in position for what he thought was going to be the dragon fight.
Yeah.
But then his team got caught moving to the dragon, and he was trying to recall. Gets, I think, found out on that recall, so gets spotted, ends up going down, and that is really costly. Now Zinie's in the wrong spot too.
Yeah, Zinie got to be careful here. Has the Sun Disc to fall back to, but Quad is still looking to keep the play going because Gryffinn's also about to arrive. Defensive Emperor's Divide from Zinie keeps him alive. But honestly, this game at its peak was almost 3,000 gold advantage for Shopify. Now 2,000 advantage for FlyQuest. It's a 4.5K swing.
I mean, what a massive difference these couple objective secures have made for Gryffinn. Gryffinn is super fed now. Getting that last dragon, securing the Baron over Contractz as well is huge for FlyQuest. They're in control.
Yeah, Massu just used the curtain call to poke Shopify down so the rest of the team could move up, take down this tier 1 turret, and guarantee more money in their pockets. Now nearly a 3,000 gold lead for FlyQuest. Less than 4 minutes on the clock until their Dragon Soul will spawn. Shopify went from driving the car to being stuffed into the trunk.
Yeah, and I just want to point out, we've talked about Gryffinn's objective control, right? The Drake steal, the Baron. However, look at this. He's participated in almost all of FlyQuest's kills, right? So he has just been absolutely involved with everything this team has been doing. I do want everyone to cast their mind way back to that topside fight before Baron that kind of set up the Baron take, because Gakgos was actually the hero of that fight, coming in with the teleport ward above where the fight was happening. So when Shopify were able to engage, he was able to come in completely onto the backline.
I mean, look at his journey. You know, hit Challenger at 13, hit rank 1 at 16. He was on T1 Challengers, which was very cool. Played in the CB LOL on Loud for a little bit, and now he is here in NA. This is a guy who, you know, some people have been hyping for quite a long time. I know LS has been a big fan of him and talking about him for many years. And so it is really cool to get to see him come out. And it was fun talking to ThinkHard about this team, because I talked to every coach and I asked the coaches, you know, how would you like us to judge your team? Like, by what metric would you want us to judge success? And he was saying, we have to win team fights. If this team cannot win team fights, something is wrong. He's like, I got a bunch of teenagers on my team. If we can't win with our hands, we're not going to win. He's like, I can teach them everything else, but they have to have good hands. If I'm going to sign a 17-year-old and an 18-year-old, you got to have good hands.
I think we've seen that today from a lot of these team fights, right? As we see the dance in mid lane begin.
Okay, so important to look at those side lanes. Quad does not have a teleport, so FlyQuest do not want this 4v4 to break out, because Fudge will be the one that can then immediately skew the odds for Shopify. So FlyQuest are going to disengage from this. They have vision control here in the topside river because it's 30 seconds until the Baron shows up. Quad does have his Rabadon's Death Cap on top of the Ludens and the Shadow Flame. We talked about how the game was starting so rough for this Orianna. He was set so far behind. He is the only one without an individual gold lead right now, but 3 full item power spike is plenty.
And especially, this is not the defensive items. This is not like a Roa and a Banshees and a Zhonya's. This is the one-shot you with a combo.
Okay, Gakgos is going in. Pathmaker to lead the way, but he won't find anybody immediately. Now Fudge has also arrived here with a TP. FlyQuest moving up, looking to reassert themselves as dominant in this river area with the Baron on the map. Contractz and Zinie waiting. Contractz with a 3-man knockup, but nobody else is there. Nobody else is in the same town. Nobody else is in the same damn zip code. Massu just shoots him down, and Shopify are not coordinated enough. Gryffinn spins in with the R1, and he knocks Bvoy up into the air. Massu shoots him back down into the ground. Cryogen kills Seos. It's 3 dead for free, favoring FlyQuest.
And that's going to be Baron as well. Contractz just sees 3-man ulti and his eyes get big, but your Varus is not there, your Azir is not there. No one can follow up on the play. He goes in, and insult to injury flashes out as he dies as well. So they get the kills. They're going to get the Baron uncontested, and FlyQuest are just running away with it in this first game.
Yeah, and I love the way that they have approached setting up these fights. We talked about how this composition with the Jhin, with so many divers, kind of wants to create that space, right? And so they've been setting this up so well with their positioning from Gakgos, who did this earlier. This is where Contractz just, I understand why
Renekton,
he sees the
here's
angle.
Varus.
But yeah, your Azir is nowhere near you as well. The rest of the team was definitely not ready to follow up on this fight, which sets up beautifully for Jhin and Wukong to take over here.
Yeah, I mean, that is a tough one.
Hold on, we're already back to live, my friends. Gakgos in the front line. Fudge wrapping around for the flank here with the Dominus. Tempered Fate lands onto Quad, but Contractz is already killed at the start of the fight. Yet again, Fudge only arrives in time to be isolated from the rest of his team. Gryffinn goes into the back line of Shopify. Immediately forced away by the Emperor's Divide. FlyQuest has low health bars, but Shopify have already lost a man. Dragon still alive. Remember, it's Cloud Soul if FlyQuest claim it. Bvoy still have plenty of HP to work with. They need a lot of value here out of the piercing arrows. Curtain Call opens up. Bvoy tagged with 2 shots. Make it 3 and he's already dead. Who brings a bow to a gunfight? It's not a winning play. FlyQuest are gonna take the kills and the objective.
And Seos just bailed on Bvoy. The Secret Service just dove out of the way. The president got taken out as Massu takes down Bvoy with that final shot. And Ludwig and Moist Critical tuning in at an inopportune moment, I think.
Yeah, I love what we've seen from FlyQuest in this game. Even when Shopify got ahead, they kept fighting the entire time through the mid game, got quad back into it, right? Gryffinn and Gakgos setting up so many of these picks. And I mean, this is a young team with hands, like you said. The hands are working.
The hands are definitely working. And Shopify, you know, started out really well, but has not been necessarily on the same page with a lot of these engages. And some of them have been very costly. It feels like Fly is making these individual good plays. They're kiting out. It feels like we're having so many fights where it's really close margins, very low health, but they're able to stay alive, to stay involved in these fights. And I feel like they're on the precipice of closing out this game. Cloud Soul with these kind of champions in these long extended fights with that much move speed, so tough to deal with.
Yeah.
Cloud Soul Wukong is just wild stuff. Every time he gets this buff, it feels like the champion has unlimited target access. As FlyQuest are looking to force their way into the enemy base now. It's bottom lane, the first target here at the tier 3 turret line. Massu finds a quick shot there into Bvoy. Takes off about a third of his HP. As this tier 3 turret really isn't looking particularly sturdy. Shopify continuing to scramble to try to defend as FlyQuest move up slowly but surely towards their first inhibitor. That one should die in no time at all. Deadly Flourish locks up Zinie back near his own Nexus turrets as the mid lane tier 3 is the next target for FlyQuest. Gryffinn and Quad working together on that one. They've got it down to only the final plate as they'll force their way into a second lane now, and that inhibitor will also have no serious defense. The top lane wave is in no condition for a full 3 inhib play, but I think FlyQuest are pretty happy with the state of things.
Yeah, I mean, no kidding. Massu is almost to a true 7 items now at this point. You talked about Wukong, but Jhin with that much move speed too. When Massu is getting a crit, he's at 600 move speed.
Yeah, he's pretty fast.
And that's without popping the Ghost Blade. So it is kind of hard to find the engage. I mean, at that point, you have got 100 to 0, because if he gets one auto off, he's going to pop his Ghost Blade, just zoom away. You are not getting back to this guy.
Yeah, and we'll see what, if anything, Shopify can do here. Is Gryffin still looking? And it's just kind of so terrifying, right? This Wukong flying towards you. Don't necessarily know where the rest of the team is as we push up through.
He's got Stormrazor now as well for the bonus move speed. He's about to hit Home Guard Rammus levels after a crit.
He's 100% crit super move speed Jhin. He's going to be really fast.
Oh my God, man. Look at that guy. It's Usain Bolt on the Rift.
Yeah, just look at him move. He's got the anime shadow trail behind him.
So all right, Renekton, just go catch that guy.
All right. Yeah, surely Slice and Dice is going to make sure that you're on top of this dude every time. And now you can see FlyQuest walking up the last remaining wave of non-supered minions as this tier 2 turret is dying. Okay, Jhin just shot 40% of its HP off in one hit. Okay, FlyQuest are really hungry for this last inhibitor.
730 move speed without the Ghost Blade active when he rocks the Stormrazor.
Contractz goes in. He only finds the knockup onto Gryffinn, and that's not going to be a valuable enough target. Tempered Fate onto 2. Contractz, though, still isolated here on the front line. Finally dies. Quad taking the kill as Zinie goes next. Gakgos will claim that kill himself as Fudge is juggled around. At least there's the 1 kill back onto Gakgos for Shopify. They'll lose 2 for 1, but they do hold the tier 3 turret for now.
Yeah, they are alive for now. Bvoy surviving alongside Fudge. They do still have some power, and Fudge got a 1K shutdown there off of Gakgos. If Bvoy can hit these arrows, it's great, but there's just so much move speed, it makes it a lot more difficult.
Yeah, look at Monster. He goes in. That's 2 auto attacks. 2 auto attacks onto Bvoy, takes that much HP. Deadly Flourish doesn't hit Seos. FlyQuest don't need anything more. They already got what they came for here. It's 2.5 minutes of double super minions in every single lane.
It must feel so good to be Massu right now. Like,
these are the dream games.
Yeah, you're an AD carry player, right, Emily? No, this is just what dreams are made of.
Just like, this must feel amazing.
Oh, he sold his Stormrazor. No more zoom in.
Mercurial Scimitar instead.
Who needs that?
It's all right. He'll survive, I'm sure.
This one doesn't make you go faster, though, so I'm not really approving of the purchase.
Well, he does have his escape mechanism now if he gets caught by a Chains of Corruption or a Ruthless Predator. But let's see FlyQuest going after the Baron. This is kind of, I feel like, the last chance for Shopify to do anything here. It would have to be fully crazy with the steal. We'll see what Contractz has ready to go. Everybody on Shopify is in the area, but the Baron's already down to 3,000 HP. It's going to be claimed by Gryffinn before anything else even happens. Cryogen down to 20%, but it will not matter. They cannot kill him. Another kill on the Contractz. Fudge gets one back. Gryffinn knocks everybody up into the air, and Shopify has to scatter. Zinie wants the Emperor's Divide, but the only thing cut in half is Shopify's roster. Nobody's still standing. It's a 5-for-2, and FlyQuest will march it down mid.
What a fantastic opening match for this FlyQuest roster.
Nicely done from FlyQuest. A shaky start. They recovered it in the mid-game, and they sent it home late. They'll go up 1-0 in this best-of-3.
Nicely done. We'll see how Shopify can bounce back, as FlyQuest got to be feeling so confident after that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really loved the way that they were able to coordinate, unlike what Shopify did. So now we will toss it to the Analyst Lounge to see what they have to say about it.
Banger game, Kobe.
Absolutely banger game. Also, pretty happy as a couple of junglers here watching this game with some jungle-focused action going on.
I mean, FlyQuest looking pretty calm. Massu